Don reporting live from beautiful sunny Afghanistan. Just want to say hi to my family back home. Mom, my sister, I love you guys. I miss you guys. I'll be home soon. But in the meantime, let's go Niners. Win that Super Bowl, baby.
Thanks so much for stopping in on Veterans Day. Hope you had a great weekend. The West Point shots yesterday on Fox Football was just unbelievable. Don't be the guy in the room with a sloppy-looking untucked shirt. Untuckit.com, code HERD, 20% off. GQ calls it perfection. So we were talking about this, Joy, Friday, is that when you do a list of quarterbacks, you get about 12, 13 in the league, and I come and I like Dak and then Kirk Cousins. But after watching last night, stats can be very deceiving. The gap between Dak and Kirk Cousins is actually fairly significant. Dak is several steps ahead. My bad. I thought they were like right next to each other. And I'll give you an example. If you look at the stats last night, you're like, oh, man, look at Kirk Cousins. There was never a moment in that football game. No reasonable person watched that football game, and as you're watching Minnesota's offense, you're thinking, man, Kirk Cousins is controlling the Cowboys. You were saying, Dalvin Cook is a beast. Kyle Rudolph, guy, forget how good he is. Stephon Diggs, man, they got a lot of talent. Okay, 23 of 32, 111 passer rating, no picks, 2 touchdowns. You're looking at him, and you're like, oh, man, what a night. But after a very good game plan gets him a 14-0 lead, Kirk Cousins made a series of throws on play action because the running game was so good and had been established, and he's leading in the game, so he was never uncomfortable. They rolled him out. A lot of screen stuff, play action throws, very comfortable. Everybody in this league looks good like that. Dak trailed 14-0. Minnesota's pass rushers pinned their ears back. He had no run support. He was making incredible throws. I think half his throws to Amari Cooper are out of bounds. They're so perfectly timed. They were asking Dak to throw trailing, throw against a better defense, throw with no running game, control a defense that could pin its ears back. Dak's stats, he didn't get a throw on play action because it had been established early. Dallas couldn't run the ball. So I as a linebacker, I don't have to come up and cheat. You're not running the football. Dallas linebackers had to cheat all night because Dalvin Cook is so great. So, once again, Dak has to overcome what I view as a subpar opening game plan, no running game, not as many play-action throws, much more difficult throws, having to run a little bit more out of necessity, not game planning. I think the gap between Dak and Kirk Cousins. Now, I'm not saying Kirk Cousins doesn't deserve respect for following through with a conservative game plan once he gets a lead. I'm not saying that. Kirk was not poor. But don't just look at numbers on this. Go look at what the quarterbacks were asked to do. One leads, one trails. One has a great running game, one doesn't. One's running for his life out of necessity. One is rolling out because it's game planned. I thought Dak was spectacular. I thought Kirk Cousins managed the game really well with a couple of nice throws. Never really pushed, never uncomfortable. I mean, it's quarterback in the NFL. It's uncomfortable for everybody at some point, except, I guess, Lamar Jackson, who's a magician. But, it's a hard position to play. But if you look at Dak's numbers, 28, 46, 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 receivers had over 100 yards. Here's something to remember. Dak completed 21 balls to wide receivers. Kirk Cousins, 6. I don't want to hear about the stats, and I don't want to hear about who won the game. Dak, Kirk Cousins. And it's not as close as I said it was Friday. Joy with the news.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herd Line News.
Well, the Browns finally got their first win at home this season. 19-16 victory over the Bills. Big win. Baker stepped it up with 0 turnovers in his first game of the year with multiple touchdowns.
Yeah.
And he hopes that this win can jumpstart Cleveland for the rest of the season.
We still didn't play perfect by any means. We can still learn from the film and move forward and improve. But having a tight victory against a great team is something that we needed, especially at home. Kind of getting the monkey off our back with that one. The first win at home in Game 9 is not something that usually happens, but it can get us rolling from here.
I really liked that game for Cleveland yesterday. That's a good win for them. The Bills are not a joke. They're not an easy out. What's with all this? What's happening? Why are you over there smirking?
You sound like my wife. What's with us smirking? I felt I learned a ton about Buffalo. Most of it not good. I didn't feel I learned anything about Cleveland. They're still a weird, situationally, they are a mess. But I thought, Baker did some stuff, and we know they can run the football. Nick Chubb's great. But
look, they were awful in the red zone. And
awful? You're being kind.
Well, sometimes I'm nice. Not often. But yeah, they were awful in the red zone. It was very difficult to watch. However,
they won.
How you finish the game is all that matters.
Okay, that's fair.
You get the W. It's not like a W with, by the way, they won, but they were also awful in the red zone. That's for us to do. They got the win over Buffalo.
Fair.
I agree. You learned more about Buffalo than you did about Cleveland.
I felt I learned a lot about Buffalo. Most of it is they're not. This is a limited team.
But just win on Sunday. And it snapped their 4-game losing streak. Odell got his most targets of the season with 12. He had 5 receptions for 57 yards, so that's good. And Nick Chubb was great as well. So it's a good win for Cleveland. I hope they build on this.
Okay.
They've got the Steelers on Thursday night, so I think it ends quickly.
We're getting great Thursday games.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting great Thursday games.
But the Steelers played great yesterday.
Yeah,
I mean,
so did Baltimore.
You have to take away from that. So, yeah, the AFC North has been interesting all year. But regardless, congratulations to Cleveland. Good win. Not a good win for Atlanta, but a horrible loss for the Saints. 26-9 against the 1-7 Falcons. I don't know. I don't have any explanations.
Every week there's a game.
Yes.
And we're like,
what happened?
What was that? I don't understand that game.
I mean, that's the league. That's how it works. That's why you can't, and especially, this is a rivalry game anyway, but to go into New Orleans and get this win for Atlanta, that's crazy. Their defense finally showed up.
Saints hadn't had a game like this in like a year.
Right. Though they held, New Orleans obviously didn't have a touchdown, and they sacked Breeze 6 times. But after the game, Sean Payton wasn't making any excuses, but he does expect the team to bounce back.
We didn't play well enough to win today. I mean, really against anybody. Shame on us if we can't get those corrections made, but that won't be a problem. It's much easier to come in and watch tape after you win, but that's one of the things about this game that creates a little bit of toughness and grit.
I think it was Tony Gonzalez that said that not all losses are bad losses. Yeah, this kind of feels like that. Like it's an unexplainable loss for the Saints. Saints hadn't been held without a touchdown at home with Drew Brees as a quarterback, so this is a bizarre game. I don't think that Atlanta's turning it around this season because of this game, and I don't think that the Saints are this bad.
If we didn't have this every weekend once or twice, we could all bet football and be rich.
Right.
The reason none of us can be rich betting football is this happens twice a weekend in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, there's no explanation for it. I don't think there's any reason to panic. But it
happened in New Orleans.
A really bad loss for the Saints. So there's some things I'm sure they'll take away from it, as he said. But that happens. Finally, Joe Burrow had a game of his life against Alabama on Saturday. What a great game. We deserved that game.
God, it was great.
Didn't we? We deserved that game. It was a great game.
And who would have thought LSU Bama, if I'd have told you 5 years ago, they're going to play football and score 100 points. Those games are always like 10-7.
Right.
It was just a crazy Big 12 shootout.
Yeah, LSU had a combined 39 points in the last 5 games against Alabama. Well, Joe Burrow threw for 393 yards and 3 touchdowns in the win. He pretty much solidified his status as the Heisman frontrunner with that win, and even drew one very bold comparison from CBS analyst Rick Neuheisel.
That guy, I've said it before, is Tom Brady. He is going to be a remarkable NFL player. He's got great accuracy. He's got a great sense of anticipation. That's the thing you're looking for most when you're making the transition from college to pro.
I want to say this right now before we get any further. All of you, stop comparing Joe Burrow to Tom Brady. I refuse to allow you to put that on this young man. Okay? Tom Brady is the single greatest quarterback that has ever breathed air on our planet Earth. And arguably the best football player as well.
But Burrow did get himself a top 10 draft pick.
He was already a top 10 draft pick. But yes, this was an incredible, life-changing game for him. He was magnificent. But let's relax on the Tom Brady stuff, please. I beg of you.
He was good. I'll tell you something. Tua was good. Tua had a warrior game. Like you can't say anything bad about Tua in that game, especially like all heart. I watched that game and I thought if Tua goes 1 and Joe Burrow goes 2, I'm like, and then Justin Herbert at Oregon, who I've had 2 NFL scouts tell me is the easiest Easiest evaluation ever. He's going to go. We got 3 quarterbacks now in college that go walk into this league and are going to be really good.
For multiple reasons, I'm leaning Joe Burrow at this point. Not only was that a great win, he also had to transfer. He's had to overcome stuff.
That's interesting.
He looked like just the way he was moving out there was NFL ready.
Do you know he's an all-state basketball player?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, he's he's a gamer. He's so.
I
And
like
by the
that
way,
even
Brady,
more.
we forget this. Brady was drafted in baseball, so it's like Burrow and Brady actually they're real athletes.
I'm very excited to see him at the next level. But let's just stop with the Tom Brady stuff, please.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. 30 minutes from now, Colin right, Colin wrong. Joy Taylor with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks